How do you handle a pessimist, particularly when they may be a person you know well? Asking for their input instead of merely presenting your objectives or goals is an uncommon but successful strategy. People who are given an advisory role are less likely to outright criticize your suggestions and are more inclined to provide helpful comments. Another strategy includes turning the tables, using a tactic known as positive confrontation. Encourage them to come up with solutions rather than letting them vent their displeasure. Counter with a fascinating question, such as, how do you think somebody could successfully transition careers? If they suggest that you won't be able to change occupations at this time, this not only diverts the negative topic but also supports one that is more productive. In all examples, it is wise to remember this remark of the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus: "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we talk." It's important to distinguish between important input and unnecessary noise when listening so that you don't just take in everybody's negativity. When pessimists start to cover your canvas with their shades of uncertainty, stand back, listen, and think before continuing to paint your own life in the colors that resonate with you. Never allow anyone to ruin your colorful artwork by turning it into a desolate area. Type number 4, the manipulator. Think of your life as a film, being the main character. You know how the storyline should develop, where unexpected events will occur, who your role models and friends are, and what your ultimate act will be. Here comes the manipulator, the shady producer who silently changes your film script without your knowledge, until the moment comes when you realize your story went off course. The manipulator is skilled at using psychological or emotional tricks. They may try to influence you in their favor by using flattery, emotional blackmail, or even outright lies. For example, you could have a buddy who usually tries to get you to pay the bill for lunch by saying anything like, "You know, I have been having a hard period, and you are so wealthy that it won't make much of a difference to you. However, it would cheer up my day." As time passes, you start to see how your kindness is being abused. Addressing them is difficult since they have pretended it's a favor for a buddy who's in need. It can be difficult to handle a manipulator. The use of fogging is a technique that some professionals use to counteract their strategies. This tactic entails accepting any truth contained in the manipulator's claims but avoiding being influenced by emotional blackmail. If they respond to you like you are successful and should pay for dinner, you can answer, "You are correct that I have been working successfully. However, let's share the bill as we always do." Another strategy is to establish and uphold defined limits. Learn to say no firmly if the manipulator pushes you to give them cash or agree to duties you're not sure about. Maintain a neutral tone and use straightforward language. "I cannot give you any cash. However, I can give you emotional support," I said. This establishes a limit while preserving the bond. Epictetus, who was influenced by Stoic philosophy, cautioned us that while we cannot always influence our surroundings, we can always control how we react to them. The manipulator makes use of your predicted responses to take advantage of your goodness, guilt, or need for praise. You regain control of your story by making an alternative response choice. If you come across a manipulator in your daily activities, keep in mind that you are the one in control. Your story is yours to tell, and even though it could involve a diverse group of people, the main character's journey, which is ultimately your journey, should always be determined by your morals and choices. Take control of your story and resist anyone's attempts to influence it. Type number 5, the victim. Think of life as a game of chess, where everyone has the same pieces and the same goal, to checkmate the king of the opposition. You adopt an analytical mindset, make some concessions, and take some chances. The victim, however, accuses everyone of everything they do wrong on the board, the pieces, or even their adversary. They see themselves as being in a constant state of checkmate, not as a result of their decisions, but as a result of some hostile external power. They portray themselves as the powerless characters in an ongoing series of catastrophes in their storyline. Some examples of excuses could be, "I can't advance in my career because my supervisor dislikes me," or "I am unable to get informed because I'm born with poor genetics." It's important to remember that particular individuals deal with real problems and systemic concerns. However, the victim in question refuses to accept responsibility for their choices or actions and instead utilizes their predicament as a constant justification. You may become involved in their story, possibly as the supporting figure who must continuously save them. Let's assume you have listened to a buddy for many hours while they only accuse their prior partners of all of their unsuccessful relationships. This not only takes up your time, but it could also gently tempt you to view yourself as a victim in your own life. Therefore, how do you approach a victim? It would be enticing to assume the role of their hero and provide unending counsel and emotional support. The Stoics, nevertheless, recommend avoiding doing this to safeguard your own mental well-being. They would advise setting a strict limit. You could use a method called compassionate detachment. Show compassion and care but avoid attempting to save them from challenges they must confront alone. Provide a sympathetic ear but avoid taking on the role of their go-to problem solver. According to Marcus Aurelius, the greatest way to avenge a wrong is to be unlike the perpetrator. If you find yourself becoming engaged in the victim's story, avoid the temptation to adopt the victim's persona. Take charge of your own ship, make your own movements, and keep in mind that, like the game of life, staying in a checkmate mindset is frequently a decision rather than a predetermined outcome. Move your pieces ahead, sacrifice strategically when required, and play for development and wisdom rather than for vengeance or pity. Type number 6. The toxic optimist. We are all familiar with the individual who always radiates happiness, rainbows, and emotions. They are the ones that encourage you to just be happy when you're experiencing a bad day or period, ignoring your emotions and experiences with a wave of cheerful optimism. Try to picture your life as a greenhouse. In addition to bugs and weeds, there are flowers, but the toxic optimist refuses to see anything but a flowering rose. Do your leaves have bugs on them? Concentrate only on the flowers, they would advise. Although it seems encouraging, this method might make you feel unvalidated and removed from the realities of life's difficulties. Consider a scenario in which you are going through a challenging breakup, feeling unhappy and uncertain, and wanting some mental balance. There are many fish in the sea, advises the toxic optimist. Simply smirk and be joyful. This overly optimistic outlook ignores the complexity of human feelings and the realities of life's difficulties. How do you nurture your garden while allowing the toxic optimist to crush it under their feet with their obstinate insistence on nothing but positive energy? A good tactic is to start a conversation with them that covers both the light and the darkness. You may reply, "Yes, I'm thankful for my well-being. Nevertheless, it is also fine for me to be unhappy about this particular issue." If they comment, look on the positive side, because at least you have your health. Both are compatible. You may also use what psychologists refer to as emotional granularity, which is the capacity to experience and distinguish between a wide variety of feelings, both good and bad. When the toxic optimist tells you to just be happy, pause to recognize and name your complex emotions. Because of X, I'm feeling a little down today, but that's all right. This statement may be empowering. In reference to Stoic philosophy, Seneca once observed, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without worrying about relying on the future." Take note of the harmony between knowing our obligations, which are not constantly enjoyable, and appreciating the moment. Focusing entirely on the good or bad is not a Stoic way of thinking. It's about accepting the complexities of life with serenity. The great and well-known Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "The essence is to associate solely with those who uplift you, whose presence brings the best out of you." The saying "you are the average of the 5 people you spend the majority of your time with" is undoubtedly one you have heard before. Today, we will consider this concept from a Stoic viewpoint. In this video, we will talk about the 7 kinds of people that could hinder your progress in daily life and your understanding of the Stoic philosophy, and we will explain how to handle them. Your Stoic journey starts here. Now, without further ado, type number 1, the drama magnet. Imagine that you are a ship cruising on calm waters, traveling through life. But then, you run into the drama magnet, which is like a vortex. This person has what appears to be an endless string of problems, disputes, or controversies, and they have the unsettling capacity to draw you into their swirl of mayhem. The intensity of drama magnets may first entice you, leading you to mistake it for enthusiasm or excitement. You will quickly learn, though, that steering a spacecraft through a storm while in its orbit is dangerous and draining. Dealing with drama magnets can be challenging because you may mistake their problems for your own. Their turmoil spreads quickly, and you can even find yourself drawn into fights you had no prior interest in. Let's give a real-world illustration. You have a buddy that fights with individuals in your social network quite a bit. They aren't talking to Mary and Jason right now. Your buddy comes to you for guidance, but as soon as you realize that this pattern never stops, you find yourself in conflict with both Mary and Jason because you were the one who tried to help. Whenever the same situation is happening to you, you can use the reflective listening technique. Mirror what they say to them in a neutral manner rather than giving advice or expressing a position. For instance, saying, "I am speechless that Mary said that about me," to which you might reply, "So, you are feeling misled by Mary's words?" You may offer emotional support using this method without becoming involved in the turmoil. Another strategy is to selectively become unavailable, which can seem odd, since Stoicism teaches us to appreciate our time greatly. Being unavailable for other people's problems might occasionally be necessary, particularly if they are ongoing and unsolved. Shut down your mobile device at particular times, designate concentrated periods of time for business or personal growth, and make it obvious that you don't want to be distracted during those periods. The definition of true happiness, according to Seneca, is enjoying the present without worrying about the future. This is particularly helpful when dealing with people who are drama magnets. Focus on the present moment where you have control, rather than worrying about the next disaster. Appreciate your life and avoid letting the drama of others ruin it. Steering your ship quietly can help you avoid turbulent waters that might jeopardize your quest for tranquility and personal progress. Type number 2, the complainer. Everyone has that one friend, relative, or coworker that always finds something wrong with everything, whether it's the weather, their job, or even the cuisine at a well-liked restaurant. They never miss a chance to convey their displeasure. Why should I be concerned about this, you may be asking? I'm going to just disregard them. That's certainly easier said than done. Your mental health suffers when you are frequently amongst such negativity. It drains your emotional energy supply like a drip or tap over time. Instead of indulging in our troubles, Stoicism encourages us to concentrate on workable solutions. Consider the situation when you are working on an assignment with a persistent complainer. Every meeting devolves into a tiresome ranting match devoid of intelligent discussion. The effect is detrimental to the team spirit. You are distracted from identifying practical answers, and as a result, you are likely to get more frustrated with the endeavor and perhaps even with everything that day. How can Stoicism assist us in handling a complainer? There are several tactics you may use. Start by limiting your contact with this person whenever you can. If that isn't feasible, maybe because the individual is a relative or coworker, then your other choice is to mentally detach yourself from them while they are venting. Consider their criticisms as a passing rainstorm that is noisy and upset, but eventually fleeting and helpless in the face of the immovable mountain that is your own inner peace. The final choice you have is to direct the discussion towards solutions or switch the topic to something more productive. You have control over your thoughts, not your surroundings. To paraphrase Marcus Aurelius, realize this, and you'll have courage. This everlasting Stoic wisdom advises us to vigilantly guard our mental tranquility, making sure that the negativity of persistent complainers does not lead us astray from our Stoic road of fortitude and virtue. Type number 3, the pessimist. Imagine that you are a painter who is painting a piece of paper. Your vision is given color, dimension, and life with each brush stroke. The pessimist then enters. They go into your workshop, take a look at your creations, and begin criticizing right away. Do you really like this color? It does not seem plausible. You are aware that the majority of artists fail, right? Their remarks start to tarnish your colorful painting like gray paint strokes. It differs from the usual constructive criticism, which is sometimes useful. In fact, this is more of a pervasive atmosphere of uncertainty and unfavorableness. Let's give you another example to showcase the pessimist. Let's assume, for instance, that you are eager to explore a new job route. You have done your homework, consulted experts in the industry, and perhaps even enrolled in some introductory classes. When you tell the pessimist about your excitement, they rapidly come up with all the reasons why it won't work out. The marketplace is very competitive. Do you have the necessary abilities? What if you mess up? Their uncertainties quickly become your own, and the assured vision you had starts to crumble in light of this. So the next time the toxic optimist sprinkles confetti on your well-tended garden, take a step back. Keep in mind that a garden requires both sunlight and rain to thrive. Accept the whole range of your emotions and keep giving your garden the depth and complexity it requires. Type number 7, the time vampire. Imagine that your daily routine is nicely planned out and in sync with each other, where every piece represents a task or commitment, and when performed together, they create a balancing rhythm. However, when the time vampire joins, he tunes out, blocks out your rhythm, and turns your lovely masterpiece into an unsettling cacophony. The time vampire isn't always bad. In fact, they might appear to be rather innocuous. It may be a coworker who keeps interrupting you with pointless inquiries, breaking up your busy day into a number of isolated moments. Or it may be a buddy who often asks you to social gatherings that you aren't interested in going to, making you feel pressured to go and wasting your time and energy. Even though each of these encounters may appear to be unimportant at the time, the overall result might be upsetting. How can you stop a time vampire from ruining your rhythm? The Pomodoro technique is a time management technique that includes dividing your work into periods, usually 25 minutes long, and separating them with short pauses. Make it known that you prefer not to be disturbed at certain times. This establishes a limit that prevents your most fruitful times from being lost. Remember that it's okay to say no, and that it's necessary for your mental health. If you are confronted by a social time vampire, a simple thank you for the invitation, but I can't make it can do the job of lengthy justifications. Rejecting an invitation does not mean you are rejecting the invite. Rather, it is a statement about your own desires and interests. Seneca once said, "A life well lived is long enough." Time is one of our greatest assets, and it should be intelligently allocated. According to stoicism, we need to be very picky about whom and what receives a stroke of our brush, since it is the paper on which we paint a representation of our lives. Make sure that each sound, every instrument, and each chord in the great creation of your life are in harmony with your larger purpose. Avoid having a time vampire's raucous entrance cause your symphony to disintegrate. Hold the controls firmly and live your life with intention, making sure that every moment is a well-performed melody in your harmonic composition. As we approach the end of today's video, we must remember that self-awareness is crucial. Be mindful, because other personalities might veer us away from stoic resilience and wisdom. It's easy to spot these personalities in other people, but looking inside yourself is the most difficult and illuminating endeavor. In someone else's life, are you unintentionally fulfilling one of these positions? Keep in mind that stoicism is about knowing and bettering oneself, as well as navigating the environment. If today's video generated a realization, a eureka moment, or a single reflection in yourself, please share your thoughts in the comments section, because we would love to read them. Let's create a conversation that benefits us all by writing down your ideas and sharing what you have learned. This is the end of this video. Thank you for watching, we appreciate it. We hope you learned something new and liked it. If you would like to see more of these videos, please subscribe to our channel. Also, please let us know if you watched until the end by commenting MMS, Master Motivational Mindset, so we can connect. Please stay seated, because the next video on screen will pop up that could help you on your stoic journey.